Have you spoken with any of the families of the victims of the Texas flood? And can you talk about what you would like to do when you travel there on Friday?
Well, we're going to just make it as comfortable as possible for the state of Texas. They have a great governor. They have wonderful senators. They have wonderful representatives, and we're going to work together with them. And we have been working really very hard. This whole table has been working. That was a terrible event. You saw that maybe where Texas was just absolutely so badly hurt by something that was a big surprise late in the evening. So we'll be working with the governor and all of the people of Texas. We'll be going on Friday.
Mr. President, are the tariff letters are the tariff letters that you sent today final offers, or are they negotiable?
Well, that's final offer.
So South Korea, Japan should take it or leave it?
We're always subject to negotiate something that's fair, but we've talked to most of the countries, and pretty much they've had their way for many, many decades, as you know. And it was time that we just wanted fairness. This is not really equitable from our standpoint, because it's just a small token by comparison to the damage that's been done over the years. But we had no other president that was willing to do this. I did it in my first term with China and others. We took in hundreds of billions of dollars of tariffs. No inflation, the most successful period of time that we've ever had financially in the country. The first term. I think this term is going to be much better, even much better than that. That was the best ever, and this is going to be, I think, substantially better. And we're on the way to doing that. We've already taken in over $100 billion worth of tariffs, and we haven't even started. And all I say to the other countries is, some of them wanted to make a deal and want to be fair. Others perhaps got a little bit spoiled. They were a little bit spoiled because for 30, 40 years, 50 years, they were taking advantage of the country. So we're going to, I would say final, but if they call with a different offer and if I like it, we'll do it.
And the August 1 deadline, I mean, is the August 1 deadline firm now? Is that it? Or could you move it again?
No, I would say firm, but not 100% firm. If they call up and they say, would like to do something a different way, we're going to be open to that. But essentially, that's the way it is right now. Brian, did you have something?
Mr. President, you mentioned before you want to go down as your legacy as the peacemaker. Are we in the last chapter of closing out peace amongst this conflict now and all the others that are working on?
Well, I hope so. Look, we did a job with India and Pakistan and Serbia, Kosovo, and Rwanda, and the Congo, and this was all over the last 3 weeks or so, Marco, right? We did, and others that were ready to fight, and we stopped a lot of fights. I think a very big one, frankly, a very, very big one was India and Pakistan, and we stopped that over trade. We're dealing with India and we're dealing with Pakistan, and we say we're not going to be dealing with you at all if you're going to fight. And they were maybe at a nuclear stage. They're both, nuclear powers. And I think stopping that was very important. We're trying to help out with a Biden-created monster, this whole thing that's happening with Russia and Ukraine. It's a horrible thing, and I'm not happy with President Putin at all. But this is something that would have never happened if I were president. This was a war that was never going to happen. Go ahead, Brian.
I was just going to say, how would you address your critics that in the election they said that you would cause the next World War III, when in fact you're solving all the problems?
I'm stopping wars. Yeah. I'm stopping wars. And I hate to see people killed. Like, as an example, Ukraine and Russia. They're not Americans there being killed. They're not Israeli that are being killed. These are all Russians and all Ukrainians, but it's 5,000, maybe 7,000 last week, 7,500 last week, mostly soldiers, but people in towns and cities that are getting hit, but mostly death is mostly soldiers. Now, so they don't come from here, but it's 7,000 last week souls. And if I can stop that, they have parents and they have sisters and brothers and getting married, and who knows, they're just people, but they're souls. And if I can stop a war, because I have an ability to do so, I'm disappointed, frankly, that President Putin hasn't stopped. I'm not happy about it either.
Mr. President, on the Iran talks, can you say if you've scheduled the next round of Iran talks? And then also on strikes.
We have scheduled Iran talks, and they want to talk. Yeah. They took a big drubbing. I think when we hit the 3 sites, really, I would say the 3 sites, not just the one. The one was a big one. And it was deep in granite, and it was obliterated. It turned out the Atomic Energy Commission said it is obliterated.
What might make you have the desire to do another strike on Iran?
Another what?
Another strike on Iran.
I hope we're not going to have to do that. I can't imagine wanting to do that. I can't imagine them wanting to do it. They want to meet. They want to meet. They want to work something out.
Can you say
no, they're very different now than they were 2 weeks ago.
Is there a date yet, sir, for the Iran talks, or a city? Do you know when and where the next round of Iran talks will be?
Well, I can tell you. I'd rather not say, but you'll be reading about it tomorrow or seeing it tomorrow.
On Ukraine, Mr. President, are you planning to send more weapons to Ukraine?
We're going to send some more weapons. We have to. They have to be able to defend themselves. They're getting hit very hard now. They're getting hit very hard. We're going to have to send more weapons. Yeah, defensive weapons primarily, but they're getting hit very, very hard. So many people are dying in that mess.
Mr. President, again, real quick, on Iran, in your view, is the war between Israel and Iran over? Or do those talks need to happen before you can?
Well, I would say that the best man to answer that is the Prime Minister. But I will tell you that in my view, I hope it's over. Yeah, I think Iran wants to meet. I think they want to make peace, and I'm all for it. Now, if that's not the case, we are ready, willing, and able. But I don't think we're going to have to be. But I think Bibi would answer that question very well.
I think the partnership between Israel and the United States, the partnership between President Trump and me, produced a historic victory. It's an incredible victory, actually. It brought the greatest capabilities of the United States that are unmatched with the great capabilities of Israel and the army of Israel, pilots of Israel, soldiers of Israel, and the Mossad. And the combination of these two extraordinary capacities produced a decisive result. It set back the two tumors that were threatening the life of Israel, the nuclear tumor and the ballistic missile tumor, because they were planning to build 20,000 of these things and launch it in a country the size of New Jersey. And no country could withstand that. So what do you do when you have two things that are going to kill you? You have to remove them. With our combined effort, we did. But when you remove a tumor, it doesn't mean that it can't come back. You have to constantly monitor the situation to make sure that there's no attempt to bring it back. So we've had a great achievement, and I think part of the effort of consolidating this and ensuring that we don't have to repeat this is to monitor this carefully. Of course, the President and I are talking about it, our teams are talking about it, but there's no question this is a historic victory, and I think, as was said here today, this has already changed the face of the Middle East.
But it's not over in your view.
But I think that there is an opportunity here to create a historic expansion of the Abraham Accords, which were themselves an act of history that deserve a Nobel Prize for the President. But I think the opportunities are much bigger, and I hope, I'd like to believe that Iran would not test our fortitude, because it would be a mistake.
What happened to 90 trade deals in 90 days? As people
we've spoken to everybody. We know it's all done.
Well, stay
I told you, we'll make some deals, but for the most part, we're going to send a letter. We're going to say, welcome to the United States. If you'd like to participate in the greatest, most successful country ever. I mean, we're doing better than ever. I don't think, and you're going to see these numbers soon. We've never had numbers like this. We've never had investment like this. We have more than 90. We're going to have much more than 90, but most of those are going to be sent a letter. This is exactly what I said. Now, we've made a deal with United Kingdom. We've made a deal with China. We've made a deal. We're close to making a deal with India. Others we met with, and we don't think we're going to be able to make a deal, so we just send them a letter. If you want to play ball, you have to. This is what you have to pay. So, as far as I'm concerned, we're done. We're sending out letters to various countries telling them how much tariffs they have to pay. Some will maybe adjust a little bit, depending if they have a cause. We're not going to be unfair about it. And actually, it's a small fraction compared to what we should be getting. We could be asking for much more, but for the sake of relationships that we've had with a lot of really good countries, we're doing the way I do it. But we could be getting a lot more. We could ask for a lot more than what we're asking for.
When you say we're done, because you're sending the letters, to follow up on what Ed had asked earlier, you're counting these as deals by saying, here's the tariff rate we're going to charge.
I'm saying, here it is. Congratulations. Welcome to the United States. I hope you make a lot of money and you're going to pay us money. They were ripping us. They were charging us tariffs at levels that nobody's ever seen before. We have some countries who are charging 200% tariffs and making it impossible to do business. And what the tariffs are doing is they're driving people in and companies into the United States. That's why we're building all of the work that you see happening in this country right now, and it's at a record level. All the factories, all of the AI institutions that are being built. It's largely because, well, I think it's because of November 5th, the good election, and I think it's because of the tariffs.